Hey everyone, and welcome back. We are gonna now work on some of the text elements here. And we're gonna start grouping this with some of our UI elements, like our button. So let's get right into it. Now, the easiest way to do this is to just press the text layer, so T, and then you'll want to define what your heading looks like. So sometimes I'll just write headline or header or title or something like that. And I'll grab, a large font size. Then I'll look for the font I want. In this case, we're using Merriweather. I'm just going to use regular. And I'm going to grab the color by pressing I. There we go. Now, you can use the text I used, or you can go ahead and use one of your plugins, like Lorem Ipsum. I'm going to use Lorem Ipsum for this particular tutorial, but I'm going to select this layer because Lorem Ipsum won't work unless you select a layer. So I'm going to select a layer and I'm going to just write one sentence. And there we go. We have our sentence. Perfect. That's great. So that looks okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this and drag it down. And I'm going to find something more along the lines of some nice subtle body copy. So I am going to grab that color right away. And I definitely urge you all to, experiment a bit, see what you like. Oops, that's Source. I need Source Sans Pro. I like that one. Like I said, yeah, do you think is, going to be best for your content? Not everything is going to be perfect. Maybe you don't want some body copy here, and I mean, that's totally fine. 18 pixels maybe. Okay, and I think that's fine. And once again, I'm going to grab the plugin, and I want 3 sentences. Great. So I have that. Perfect, and I am just going to increase the line height. Now, this is essentially where we are now. Now, what we're gonna do is, we basically have this, and I'm actually gonna just step away from there for now. So we have some copy here. And you may be wondering, well, I want my copy maybe to be responsive, or I want to group it so it's easier to move around. And like I said, what I'll usually do here is first I'll just rename this to like title or header or something like that, or headline, and I'll rename this to like body. That way they'll have like a similar type of naming convention. And I'll select both of them, right click, and I'm going to frame that selection. And select auto layout. Here, now I have my frame here, and I am going to go into the spacing and select something, reasonable, like 16 pixels. Now this button, let's throw that in here. This is our primary button that we made. Now, this is the one problem with auto layout. You're gonna have to nest frames, and I think one of the big reasons is because you don't sometimes want the same spacing between elements like we see here. So I'm going to take my text layers again because I want them to be closer and the button to be more further down. And I'm going to frame them using that shortcut. And you can find that shortcut here. And I'm going to make them an auto layout frame again. And I'm just going to call this copy or text. It really doesn't matter, whatever works for you and whatever is clear. And I'm going to set it to fill the container. And there we go. And I'm going to select all the layers within and set it to fill container as well. And there we go. Now we can go ahead and select a larger spacing between the text content and the button. And that is essentially how we can create our own text layer here. Now we can do a couple things. We can leave it as is, because right now nothing's responsive. So we can go into here and go into our constraints because it is an auto layout within a regular frame. I hope you all remembered that little distinction about constraints, and set that to left and right. We can also set this to left and right. And now when I select it, everything's a bit responsive. So I'm going to leave it at that. And that's how you create text layers and create responsive layouts within.